If you no clip out of reality in an area that you're not supposed to be, you'll end up in the backrooms. Endless, identical rooms. Faded yellow wallpaper. Carpet that smells faintly of damp moisture. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, half of them flickering, none of them ever fully turning off. No doors that lead back outside. No windows. Just more rooms, identical to the last one, stretching on in every direction for what some people who claim to have been there describe as an amount of space that simply shouldn't be possible. This place has never been proven to exist. There's no scientific basis for it whatsoever. And yet, if I showed you a photo of it right now, every single one of you watching this would feel something. A specific, uncomfortable, hard-to-name feeling. Like you've somehow been in a room exactly like that before. That feeling has a name. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why your brain reacts to it the way it does. In May 2019, an anonymous user on the image board, 4chan, posts a single photograph with almost no context attached. The image shows a wide, empty room. Yellow stained wallpaper. Beige carpet, tont einja. Harsh, fluorescent ceiling lights. No furniture, no people, no obvious purpose for the space at all. The caption accompanying the image is short, almost clinical, written like an internal memo rather than a horror story. It describes the room as a place you can end up if you no clip out of reality in the wrong areas, where the only inhabitants you'll have to worry about are things that hear you when you make noise. It warns that the smell of moist carpet never quite leaves you and that you'll never escape. That's it. That's the entire original post. No author claiming credit. No franchise. No planned sequel. But something about that single image and that short caption spreads across the internet almost immediately in a way its anonymous creator almost certainly never expected. Within weeks, other users start adding to the concept, posting their own similarly unsettling, deliberately mundane-looking photos, claiming they represent different levels of this same endless space. A wiki gets created, then another. Within a couple of years, the Backrooms evolves from a single creepy photo into a sprawling, collaboratively built mythology. Hundreds of contributors add their own rooms, their own rules, and their own monsters that supposedly live there. By 2022, the concept is popular enough that independent filmmakers start producing short films set in the backrooms, some of which rack up tens of millions of views. By 2024, a major studio greenlights a full theatrical adaptation. All of this starting from a single anonymous photo with a 2-sentence caption. Because the Backrooms grew through thousands of anonymous online contributors rather than one single author, it eventually developed something unusual for a piece of internet folklore. It became an entire shared mythology with internally consistent rules, almost like a collaborative fictional universe built by people who never formally agreed to work together. The basic premise stays consistent across nearly every version. You don't choose to go to the Backrooms. You no clip there, a term borrowed directly from video game development, where it refers to a glitch that lets a player's character pass through walls or floors that should normally be solid. The implication is that the Backrooms exists in some kind of gap behind ordinary reality. Certain rare specific circumstances, being somewhere slightly wrong, at a slightly wrong moment, can cause a person to slip through that gap entirely. Once there, the most basic level, the one everyone agrees on, that very first yellow room, is actually one of the safer levels in the mythology. Other contributed levels describe environments ranging from flooded, pitch-black sub-basements to eerily realistic recreations of suburban neighborhoods that are subtly, unsettlingly wrong in ways that are hard to immediately articulate. Still others describe vast empty parking garages that stretch on for what feels like an impossible distance. Some levels, according to the wiki's contributors, are described as relatively peaceful, even strangely livable for someone stuck there long enough. Others are described as actively hostile, home to vaguely described entities that react to sound, to light, or to a person's simple presence. None of this, to be completely clear, is based on any real reported phenomenon. missing persons case, or scientific theory. It is entirely and explicitly collaborative fiction, built the same way folklore has always been built throughout human history. The only difference is speed. Instead of spreading slowly through oral storytelling across generations, it's spread across the entire internet in a matter of months. Here's where this story stops being just a viral internet meme and starts being genuinely interesting from a psychological standpoint. The image at the center of all of this isn't actually frightening in any conventional sense. There's no monster in frame. No blood, no figure, no obvious threat of any kind. It's just an empty room with bad lighting and dated wallpaper. So why does it work? Architects and psychologists who study the concept of liminal spaces have a specific explanation for this. A liminal space refers to a location that exists in a transitional state, a hallway, an empty parking garage, a hotel corridor at 3 a.m., a school hallway during summer break when there are no students inside it. These are places explicitly designed for movement, for passing through, never for staying. When a person encounters one of these spaces completely empty, without the people, the motion, and the purpose it was designed around, something about it registers as deeply wrong. This happens almost instinctively, even though nothing about the physical space itself has technically changed. The original Backrooms photo taps directly into this exact feeling. The room looks unmistakably like a real, ordinary space you might recognize, perhaps an old office building, a daycare center, or a furniture showroom from decades ago. It's the kind of generic, slightly dated commercial interior that millions of people have personally walked through at some point in their lives, without ever consciously remembering doing so. It feels less like seeing a new foreign location, and more like glimpsing a fragment of a forgotten memory. There's also a deeper psychological concept at play here, something researchers call anemoia, a kind of nostalgia for a time or place you never actually experienced yourself. The Backrooms image specifically evokes late 20th century interior design, fluorescent tube lighting, popcorn ceilings, that particular shade of institutional yellow. It was extremely common in offices, schools, and public buildings from roughly the 1970s through the 1990s. Even people too young to have personally experienced spaces like that grew up surrounded by countless photographs, home videos, and media depicting that exact aesthetic. They often report the same unsettling, half-familiar feeling when looking at it. In other words, the Backrooms doesn't frighten you with something new. It frightens you by feeling like something you've already lost, or something that's already inside your memory somewhere, just slightly altered, slightly wrong, and completely unreachable. There's one more piece of this story worth understanding, because it explains why a single anonymous photo from 2019 became a global phenomenon within just a few years, rather than fading away like millions of other internet posts. The Backrooms, almost by accident, created the perfect modern myth structure. It had no copyright owner controlling it, no single creator demanding credit or royalties, and crucially, no fixed canon forcing every contributor to follow rigid rules. Anyone, anywhere, could add a new level, a new creature, a new rule. As long as it captured that same unsettling, liminal feeling as the original photo, the broader online community would generally accept it as part of the shared mythology. This is, in a very real sense, exactly how folklore and mythology have always spread throughout human history, long before the internet existed. No one person owns the story of vampires, or ghosts, or haunted houses. Those concepts evolved collaboratively, across countless storytellers, over centuries, each one adding their own details, their own variations, their own local flavor to an existing shared framework. The Backrooms simply did the exact same thing, except compressed into roughly 5 years instead of 5 centuries. That's because the entire internet was contributing simultaneously, instead of one isolated village passing down a story by firelight. Here's what actually stays with me about the Backrooms, more than any specific level or any creature supposedly lurking in one of those endless rooms. It's that an empty room with bad lighting managed to genuinely unsettle millions of people across the entire world. It did this without a single drop of blood, without a single jump scare, without anything traditionally scary appearing in frame at all. It did it purely by tapping into something we already quietly carry around inside us, the strange, specific discomfort of a familiar place that's somehow been emptied of everything that made it feel safe. And maybe that's the real, quieter lesson hiding inside this entire myth. We don't actually need monsters to feel unsettled. Sometimes all it takes is removing the people, the purpose, and the noise from a space we already recognize. And suddenly the most mundane room you've ever walked through can feel like the loneliest place in the world. So here's the question worth carrying with you after this video ends. Think about it. Hallways you've walked, offices you've sat in, rooms you've passed through 1,000 times without a second thought. How many of them are actually just one quiet, empty moment away from giving you that exact same feeling? The Backrooms was never really a place clip into. It might just be what any ordinary room becomes, the moment everything that made it feel familiar quietly disappears.